So in this video, I'm going to be talking about gender neutral parenting, kind of like what it is and why I want to do it with my son. Hey guys, Salina here, and as I've already said, this video is going to be about gender neutral parenting. So before we get started, because this is one of those controversial topics, I do want to do a quick disclaimer. I am not a perfect parent. I am by no means saying that I'm a perfect parent. My son is only 1 year old and I only have so much experience. I am not saying that my ideas are right. I am just simply sharing my opinion. And I would love to hear yours, whether you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. I try to keep an open mind with everything that I talk about and everything that I do in my life, and I would love it if while watching this video, if you could also try to keep an open mind. Please share your thoughts down in the comments below, but try to be as respectful as possible. Respect others' opinions. Now on to the video. So, gender neutral parenting. First off, what is gender? The definition that I found for gender is the state of being male or female, typically used with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones. This definition is huge for me because it's pretty much saying that gender is not something that is set in place. It's not you're a boy, so you act this way, and you're a girl, you act that way. It's not about the biological parts, so the boobs and the vagina or the penis and the testes. It's about where you are and how your culture decides, I guess, for you what you're gonna be. And yeah, I don't want to do that for my son. But yeah, that's pretty much what the definition is saying, typically used with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones. So as I've kind of said, gender isn't something that is set. Gender has changed over time. Gender changes depending on what region that you live in. So I have some examples. So like in Scotland, everybody knows they wear kilts. Kilts are essentially skirts for men, but there it's socially acceptable, whereas like here in the US, men don't wear skirts. In the early 1900s, pink was for boys and blue was for girls. The reason that pink was for boys was because red was for men. Pink is a lighter shade of red, so they'd be like wearing pink as like a little man. Before that time, kids, so boys and girls up to age 6 or 7, wore white dresses. White dresses were considered to be gender neutral. You can actually find a picture from the late 1800s of Franklin D. Roosevelt, one of our presidents, in a white dress with long hair. So gender isn't something that stays the same. So kind of like how we got to where we are today with gender. So as I've said, in the past, so like in the 1800s and probably earlier, boys used to dress like girls. I don't really want to say like girls because then it wasn't considered to be like a girl. It was gender neutral. So it could be for a boy or a girl, but they used to wear white dresses and have long hair. And then after 6 or 7, that's when they got their first haircut and they started to dress more like men, adult men. And then after that came the pastel colors, so the light blues and the light pinks. And then the colors were for either or. It wasn't really a gender thing. And then later on in the early 1900s, blue was for girls and pink was for boys. I already explained why the pink was for boys, but blue was considered to be a more delicate color, so it was considered to be prettier on girls. And then after that, boys started to dress like their dad and girls would dress like their mom. So boys stopped wearing dresses and stopped having long hair, and they would wear pants or shorts like their fathers, and then girls would wear dresses like their mothers. And then after World War I, everything changed and women started to wear more masculine things. So it was okay for a woman to wear pants, or it was okay for a woman to wear a button-up shirt or something like that. Women were allowed to be more masculine, but men still had to wear just pants and whatnot. And then eventually we came to the point where blue was for boys and pink was for girls, and we used those as gender signifiers so that as soon as you looked at a child, you can say, oh, that's a boy, and oh, that's a girl. That's just pretty much how we got to where we are today with gender. It's not something that's set, it's not something that's set in the Bible, it's just, it changes based on where you are, the time that you are in, and all that stuff. And I'm the kind of person where I don't want to do something just because everybody else is doing it. And have you guys ever thought about that? Like, you're taught growing up, you know, if your friends jump off a bridge, are you going to jump off with them? Obviously the answer is no. So you're taught growing up not to do what everybody else is doing. But then as soon as you become a parent, all of that's supposed to go out the window, and you're supposed to follow what everybody else is doing with their kids. You're supposed to parent like everyone else. And if you don't, you get crucified for it. You get criticized all the time. And I think that's crazy. I think as long as you're not hurting the child, you can raise them however you want to. For the most part, I mean, I guess you also have to think about how that's going to affect others in society. It's one of the reasons why I just don't see a point in having to say you're a boy, you have to act like this, especially since we're also in a time now where it's okay for girls to do boyish things. I think it's ridiculous for boys not to be allowed to do girlish things. And the reason why people don't like that, which I will get to in a little bit, but it shouldn't be that way in a world where there are so many feminists and we're looking for equality between men and women. You can't just think about the women's side of it. You also have to think about the men's side of it. And men should be able to do things like stay at home with the kids or cook dinner, and that's okay. Men shouldn't always have to like fit in this stereotypical role of what a man is like, if that makes sense. The main reason why I am doing this is because I want my son to be happy. I'm not trying to force this on him or anything like that. If he ends up liking trucks and boy clothes, then so be it. If he doesn't like dolls, or if he does like dolls and he likes the color pink and dresses, then so be it. I just want him to be happy wearing whatever clothes makes him happy. I don't want him to feel like he has to force himself to be someone or not like things that he doesn't like, if that makes sense. I just want him to be happy. I want him to be comfortable. So one of the main problems that I hear that people have with things like gender neutral parenting, so letting boys wear pink or skirts or play with dolls, is that they're afraid of making the child gay or that the child is going to come out gay. First off, there's nothing wrong with being gay. Secondly, I don't believe that you can make someone gay. A guy can have a family and kids. He could be like the manliest man there is, always lifting weights and eating meat and doing other manly stuff, watching sports. He could be a sports player. He could be a football player. He could be as manly as it comes and still be gay. Feminine doesn't equal gay, just like masculine doesn't equal straight. It's got nothing to do with that. I feel like I've heard people say that there are more gay people now than what there was before in the past, and it's because of parenting and the way the kids are raised and all this stuff. And I don't think that that is true. I think that it's just more accepted now. I think that there were probably just as many gay people back then as there are now. They just hid it. I think now it's just more acceptable. And if my son does turn out to be gay, I'm perfectly okay with that. I would prefer for him to be honest with himself than to hide it. I would prefer for him to be honest than to break some woman's heart pretending to be something that he's not. So again, I don't think that you can make somebody gay. I don't think that being gay is an issue either anyways. So another issue is being bullied or being an outsider. I don't know, like, it's an issue, but it's like, I think everybody gets bullied throughout their life. Some get more bullied than others. Some do become outcasts. You know, everybody reacts to being bullied differently. I think with that, it's up to my son what happens. I would happily, if he's getting bullied for something, then I would happily take him out of school and homeschool him. They do have programs for homeschool kids where they can either go to school part-time and do like a music and something like that, or they have like groups where they can meet kids. So it's not like they're going to have a social life and not be able to interact with kids. They do have programs where they can have that interaction with. And then there's also, I wouldn't want my son to, if he chooses to, that's his choice, but I wouldn't want him to feel like he has to pretend to be something he's not in order to fit in. I grew up always being different and always being bullied, and I was just able to deal with it. I think when we get there, then that's when we'll deal with it when we get there. But I think it's also something it's not as normal, but it's starting to be more accepted, if that makes sense. And the other issue is mistaking gender. So people want to look at your child and be able to tell if it's a boy or a girl. They feel like they have to know that information, whether your child is a boy or whether your child is a girl. And you don't have to know whether the child is a boy or girl. And actually, my son is always, like, I've yet to buy him any like girly clothes or anything. I do plan on doing it, but I've yet to do it. And people still always ask me while he's in boy clothes, is he a boy or is he a girl? So that's kind of irrelevant. Then I guess because girls have their different clothing, it's easy to tell girls apart from boys. When I was planning this video, I realized that we're kind of like an entitled generation. We feel like we are entitled to certain things, to certain information. So like if somebody is pregnant and they decide not to find out the gender, then people are going to have a problem with that. People are going to, I don't want to say necessarily get mad, but people are going to, somewhere along those lines, have a huge issue with not knowing the gender of the child, even though it's not their child and they don't have a right to know, if that makes sense. And they want to do it to get presents and to make their life easier, but it's not your business. It's not your information to have. If you want to know the gender of a child, like after it's born, it's not that hard to ask if it's a boy or a girl. So it's not something that it's like whatever to me. So another thing that I just thought about that I had, like when I first thought about playing this video, so we tell our kids that they can grow up to be whatever they want to be, but then we limit them, if that makes sense, especially boys. So little girls, even though I know that there are some girls who are told they can't do something because they're a girl. I know that still happens today, but now it's a lot of empowering women and telling them that they can do whatever they want. They can do what boys do. But if you have a boy, it's not the same thing. Boys are limited. Boys can't do what girls do because they're boys. And that's crazy. We could tell them that they can be anything that they want, but then we limit them. We say, no, you can't do that because that's for girls. No, you can't wear that because that's for girls. And I think if we are going to empower the women's side, we should also empower the men's side. Men should be comfortable being whoever it is that they want to be without fear of being criticized, just the same way that women are. I foresee, because I can see the future, but I do think in the future, maybe a few hundred years, I don't know, that we will be in a genderless society where anyone can wear what they want. They can be what they want regardless of like whether they've got boobs or a penis. And I don't know, like people think that is crazy and that's the telling of the end of the world, but even in the Bible, like Jesus wears robes, right? He wears essentially dresses. It's a dress. I think that there is somewhere in the Bible that says that men shouldn't dress like women, but there isn't a set thing that says that men have to dress like this and women have to dress like this. It changes over time, so I feel like that's kind of ridiculous, if that makes sense. I don't know, this video kind of just went all over the place. So yeah, I plan on getting more into gender neutral parenting with my son. I really haven't been doing it so far. So if I buy him clothes, I buy him boy clothes. If I buy him things, I do try to get gender neutral things, but I've yet to like get him girl things, if that makes sense. So I do plan on implementing it more in the future. I do have like, he has like a pink water bottle. He has a purple one, but he doesn't use that one because he can't drink out of it. There are a few other things, but I will do a video in the future on like implementing gender neutral parenting and how that works. And if there's any other like gender neutral things that you guys want me to do, just ask and I will do them. Also, please, 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 please share your opinion in the comments below, whether you agree with me or disagree. You can completely disagree with everything that I have said in this video. I still want you to share your opinion in the comments down below. I would love to hear your side. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is going to be it for this video. New video every day this month. If you have any requests, please let me know. And until tomorrow, deuces.